Let me ask you something. Have you ever picked up your phone, just to check one quick thing, and then you look up and an hour, poof, it's just gone. You're kind of dazed, wondering where that time even went. If you're nodding your head right now, you are definitely not alone. What you're experiencing actually has a name, and figuring that out is the very first step to getting your focus back. So let's get into it. Yeah, it's called zombie scrolling syndrome. The security company McAfee actually came up with that name. And it perfectly describes that state, right? Where you're just mindlessly swiping through your phone, purely out of habit. You're not looking for anything specific. There's no real goal. It's just an endless, almost hypnotic scroll. It really is the digital version of sleepwalking. And look, this isn't just some small, trivial problem. It can feel like you're losing something profound. When the author Andrew Sullivan wrote, "I used to be a human being," man, he just nailed that feeling, that sense that this constant distraction is literally chipping away at something essential, something that, well, makes us us. So let's be super clear about one thing. This is not some kind of personal failure on your part. It is a massive, widespread phenomenon. You become what one addiction specialist calls an absent presence. You know the feeling. You're physically there in the room with your family or friends, but mentally, you're a million miles away, completely lost in the glow of that little screen. Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. We have to ask why this is happening. Because, and this is the key, this is not an accident. Our minds are being actively, deliberately hijacked. It's all part of a system that is designed, from the ground up, to be absolutely irresistible. So, here's the fundamental shift you have to understand. In a traditional business, you're the customer. Simple. You pay money, you get a product. But in this new attention economy, you are not the customer. Your attention is the product. See, social media companies aren't really selling anything to you. They're packaging up your time, your focus, your eyeballs, and selling that to the highest bidding advertiser. And listen, this isn't some wild conspiracy theory. This comes directly from the people who built these systems. Tristan Harris, who used to be a design ethicist at Google, of all places, he warns that these companies are in a race to the bottom of the brainstem. Their goal is to bypass your rational thought and hook directly into your most primal, ancient impulses to keep you glued to the screen. So how do they do it? Well, they use a classic trick right out of the psychology playbook. It's called intermittent variable rewards. Every single time you post something, you are basically pulling the lever on a slot machine, right? Are you going to get a flood of likes and retweets, what one engineer called bright dings of pseudo-pleasure, or crickets? Nothing. It's that unpredictability that makes it so addictive. So how do you know if this is a real problem for you? Well, here are 8 key warning signs to look out for. Things like constantly thinking about social media, or feeling irritable and anxious when you can't get online, needing more and more screen time just to get that same feeling. Maybe you're even lying to people about how much time you spend on your phone, or you use it to just numb out and escape bad moods. If you're nodding along to any of these, that's a pretty big red flag. And we need to pay attention, because the hidden cost of all this distraction it's incredibly high. We're not just talking about wasting time here. We are talking about real, measurable damage to our brains and our emotional health. Professor Earl Miller, he's a top neuroscientist at MIT, and he doesn't pull any punches. He says that we are living in a perfect storm of cognitive degradation. Why? Because our brains, the way they're wired, they are just not built to handle this constant, never-ending barrage of interruptions. And get ready for this, because this is where it gets truly shocking. Research has actually shown that just being constantly interrupted by notifications, emails, and texts can temporarily lower your functional IQ by 10 points. 10! That is a massive hit to your ability to think clearly. Now, to put that 10-point drop into perspective, let's compare it to something else. We know that smoking marijuana lowers your functional IQ by about 5 points. So let that sink in. In the short term, being constantly distracted at your desk is literally twice as bad for your cognitive function as getting stoned. That's insane. And the damage isn't just to our intellect, not by a long shot. Study after study links way too much social media time to this whole laundry list of problems. Feeling more socially isolated, higher rates of anxiety and depression, terrible sleep, lower self-esteem, and just this constant state of mental exhaustion that people are now calling brain rot. So the bottom line, as Dr. Don Grant puts it, is that when you're stuck in that zombie scroll, you're missing out on your actual life. You are trading real connection, real experiences, and real engagement for this shallow digital knockoff.
Okay, that was a lot of bad news. But here's the good news. This is not a hopeless situation. We can absolutely fight back. It's time to stop just accepting this as the new normal and to start our own little attention revolution. And the way forward is to fight on two fronts. The author Johan Hari has this brilliant way of describing our situation. He says it's like someone is secretly pouring itching powder on us all day long, and then their solution is to tell us we should just learn to meditate and not scratch. You know? Meditating is great, but you also have to stop the person who's pouring the itching powder. We need both personal defense and collective offense.
So for personal defense, the author Cal Newport has a fantastic plan called the Digital Declutter. It's a simple 3-step mission. Step 1, take a full 30-day break from all the tech in your life that's not absolutely essential. Step 2, use that time to get back into real, fulfilling analog activities. And step 3, after those 30 days, you start to reintroduce tech, but this time it's totally on your terms with your own strict set of rules. And hey, if a 30-day break feels like too much to start with, there are smaller daily tactics you can use. Science shows that a protein-rich breakfast seriously helps with concentration. Just tidying your desk lowers the cognitive load on your brain. Journaling can act like a brain dump to get all that anxiety out. Simple breathing exercises can instantly calm you down. And maybe the most important one, make time to connect with people you love face-to-face with no screens in sight. But defense alone is not enough. We also have to go on offense. We have to start demanding change at a much bigger systemic level. And a really powerful starting point is to talk about banning the entire business model of surveillance capitalism. That's the system that makes money by tracking our every move, learning our psychological weaknesses, and then exploiting them to keep us scrolling. A different, healthier internet is possible. And this really brings us to the final, essential choice we all have to make. As Johan Hari puts it, we're caught between two powerful forces. On one side, you have fragmentation. That's the life of constant distraction, and it makes us smaller, shallower, and angrier. On the other side, you have flow. That's a life of deep focus and engagement, and it makes us bigger, deeper, and calmer. So the question for you is, which one are you going to choose?